shut up, you listen to my monkey mouth. There's a companion when you got pun on the canoa route. Hopped in a portal and got in a fight, Elias knocked him out. Bow, Naruto fighting style. Bow, UFC he tapped out. Bow, we win, we get crowned. Monkey mouth, monkey mouth, monkey mouth, monkey mouth.
Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to the Ones Who Woke Up podcast. This is Joshua, as always, and tonight I've got with me
Daniel Sheppard.
And
Victor Martinez Jr.
And why don't you tell everybody real quick where people can find you online, what you have going on, and like if they want to support you, how they can.
I have Painkiller Productions YouTube channel, Painkiller Productions, and at Lieutenant Dan, all lowercase, on Instagram.
And you can find me at Victor Martinez Jr. Backup on Instagram because they shut down the original one. I had one since 2012 and they got me. I had too many flags. And you can support me at the High Tonight Show. That's my weed talk show. Daniel here is the director there. And yeah, the High Tonight Show, we have all our merch on there. You can support us. Our Patreon will be up soon. TheHighTonightShow.com, the High Tonight Show Instagram. And yeah, thank you so much.
I respect it, man. You're doing it how I do it, bro. I've got MonkeyMouthStudios.com. We're about to be rolling out merch. Like you're oriented in the same way that I'm oriented with this stuff, which is neat. Most people who I run into aren't necessarily playing the game the way I'm playing the game, and it sounds like you're playing the game the way I'm playing the game.
Yeah, man. So. Just like might as well use every avenue available and just like treat it like what I look at someone else, a good example is someone who's just like in the big leagues, like what the fuck are they doing? Just copy those steps, the blueprint's already there. But thanks again for having us on, man.
Yeah, well, I appreciate y'all coming out. I know it's a little bit of a trip out here to Taylor.
Yeah.
From out in Austin, and you're out in the bumfuck in the middle of nowhere, in the opposite direction. But
I know the area really well, though.
Yeah,
I'm very familiar with this area.
Yeah, you were telling me earlier you're a local boy. I mean, we're sitting here, we're two unicorns, bro.
Yeah.
It's very rare that you come across people
two
who
sexy
are
ass, successful, funny guys.
Big burly Texans, born and bred, real talk.
Yeah, man.
The other day I was down. I say the other day. This is probably over a year ago, but I never go out. So when I go out, it's like that last time I went out. Whitley and K-Dog, shout them out. There, I was one of the members of the bridal party in their wedding. These two girls got married, and it was a beautiful deal. And even before that, they forced me to go out. Right, these are like the only people who can get me to go out downtown, and they did. And we were standing around this like food truck down on Rainey, and we got grilled cheese. Really good grilled cheese. Shout out the guys slinging grilled cheese.
I got a
down
grilled
on
cheese
Rainey.
recently.
I hope they're still doing it. Right, it's been so long they might not even be down there anymore.
Shout out Creek and Crave. They have grilled cheese there too. If you ever come to
that
our
was just
comedy
that
club,
one night, dude. He does a secret menu every week.
Oh yeah.
No.
And it may never happen again. It was like a 3 cheese on a Texas toast.
They'll never mind. Never mind.
An experience.
No. Check out Creek and Crave. Creek in the Cave.
That makes everybody talk about food.
We got food here in Texas. That's a big thing.
Oh, especially in Austin.
Yeah.
There's really, really good food in Austin. There's
really good food in Austin. You have to know where to go, but like San Antonio is great. And in San Antonio, you can kind of like waltz anywhere, find good food there, and then, I hear good things about Houston too.
Well, I'm about to do something that I should be getting paid for. Do you guys like Philly cheesesteaks?
Yeah. Fucks yeah.
Easily the best Philly cheesesteak I've ever had is at Hoodie's Subs in Round Rock on 620.
Oh, shit.
Either of y'all ever been there?
All right,
You're a local. So you haven't even been to Hoodie's.
Yeah, how long has that been there? Has it been there a long time?
Since 1989.
Oh, shit.
And my mom was one of their first customers.
They used to be
She went there while she was pregnant with me. And so I joke every time.
It's in your blood, then.
I literally joke and like old man Hoodie, Mr. Hoodie still like runs the joint. He's a big Notre Dame fan.
Used to work there. Yeah.
Beautiful joint. But the point is
I would work there.
They have easily the best Philly cheesesteak. And we were talking earlier about my other businesses, how I've like my drone business particularly has taken me all over. And every time I go to the Northeast, I like go on the prowl for a better Philly cheesesteak than what I can get over at Hoodie's on 620, and it does not exist.
So
there isn't a better Philly cheesesteak.
There used to be a place called Tex Sandwiches. Do you remember Tex Sandwiches? Did you ever see it? There wasn't a whole lot of locations for them, But it was like somebody involved in Schlotsky's broke off and did their own sandwich thing that wasn't as successful, but it was really, really fucking good. And I remember one day it just went out of business. We showed up, everything was gone.
Are you talking about Texadelphia?
No, there's
Tex
called
sandwich?
Tex Sandwich, Tex Sandwiches.
Okay,
It's
gotcha.
one word.
Okay, gotcha.
And there is a Texadelphia. I've never been to Texadelphia. Or actually, I think I have, but it's just like a couple times maybe.
What's your
I've
favorite?
had their food. but-
What's your favorite spot to eat in Austin? Like if you like where you like
Creek and Crave.
if you could go anywhere right now for a dank ass anything, where would you go?
I have a soft spot for Chinese food.
Word.
Yeah, and there's like a Zhangzhou Chan Chan around the corner or something like that. Don Don, something like that. He's a really good guy, and I remember we fucking. They still haven't completely come back from the pandemic. Like
Shit.
no one goes to sit down and eat there anymore, but I give them my business, man. I'll eat that shit for 3 days straight. You eat it once whenever it comes
Can't
to
remember the
you,
fucking name.
and then you don't reheat it afterwards. You eat the fucking the leftovers cold right out of the fridge. That's the way I do it. I don't know. If
It's
that's
that
just
good?
me. I don't know. Maybe that's just
I
me.
usually
I-
yeah. So usually whenever I'm eating leftovers, I usually throw it all in a frying pan.
Oh, yeah?
And heat it up in a frying pan.
That's
It's like-
good. I got an air fryer. That's what I've been doing lately.
Isn't
Yo,
that
can I
ju-
hit that vape again, man?
Isn't that
Fuck
just
yeah.
an oven with a fan?
I got a buddy.
Something like that.
I got a buddy, and it's a North Austin joint where it's a sushi place. It's all you can eat, and he works there on the weekends. And I've made a habit of going there. I quit my job, so I haven't had the money lately to go. But it's like you just order rounds of sushi, and then they charge you for the pieces you don't eat. But I mean, we make a point of cleaning up, and never have had to get charged.
What's the
there.
name of this spot?
I'm about to get him to send me the name. I think it's called Sushimi or something.
You text
like
someone,
that.
just be like, "Yo, where's this?"
I
place
told him,
for
I
you?"
was like, "Tell me where he
You
is."
tried to tell me
That's
about
what it was.
Yeah, I can't remember the fucking name.
You tried to tell me about a movie earlier. You can't remember the name of the movies either, bro.
No, I can remember.
Fucking
I
pothead.
told you,
Little
I
space
thought it was-
cadet ass.
Oh, that was because it was Korean.
Sure.
I forgot. But
Wait,
yeah.
So
I
you
can't
need
remember
to,
the
you need to
Korean
text me.
name.
You need to text me the name of that Korean flick too,
Mhm.
and the name of whatever else we were just talking about. I'm so high, I don't know what we're talking about at all.
Give me 1 second. I can find the Korean movie. Hold on.
So
Find the Korean movie right now.
I had a little Chinese spot in Austin. I stayed in Austin for forever by the Domain. It just got too expensive. And a place that got shut down due to the pandemic was a spot called Men's Cafe. And they were so good. They bought all their produce from the little Asian markets in Austin. It was tops. Now the best, my favorite place to eat right now is a spot called Dawes Thai Cuisine. And it's a food truck. And it's at the Eli's Roadside Produce over off 79. There's in Round Rock. There's this like farmers market, and they have food trucks there.
Oh yeah.
And Amber Fire makes very good burgers there, but I go there for the noodles, drunken noodles, pad ki mao, bro. Like
I
all the
always get some
spice.
shrimp fried rice and the beef and broccoli. I judge the beef and broccoli.
Y'all fuck with Rudy's?
It's okay. It's not bad.
Not
It's
bad.
like- it's like
it's not bad. I love Rudy's.
It's passable barbecue. Every time I go there, I'm not upset at it.
No, yeah.
You know.
I can't afford that type of meat right now. I
Rudy's
have to
is
fucking
dope.
get bought that type
That
of
was
shit.
always like a thing. Like, oh fuck you, fucking idiot. You go
Guys,
to Rudy's.
Y'all want to know some grimy ass shit that I did? Cause I've been poor. I've been very, very,
Yeah.
very poor in my lifetime. And one of those points when I was that poor, I happened to come into a stack of free half pounds of barbecue coupons for it being your birthday.
Oh my
I had like a
God.
stack of like 60.
How many birthdays did you have?
All of them, like 60. And I would strategically go to the different Rudy's across the city. So like, so you saw your birthday a month ago. Nah, bro. I stopped in at the one on 620 last week. I'm at the one over here now.
That's
And
right.
bro, straight up survived off Rudy's
I'm
free
gonna
Rudy's
smoke all of
barbecue for a hot minute. I've done some grime
That
god
sounds
shit.
good though. That sounds like a fucking bet.
Oh, it's
whenever you're
perfectly. So you know what I would do is I would go and get a half pound of chopped beef, and then I'd go home.
Oh.
I'd leave, and I'd have a baked potato in the oven going, and then when I got back, the oven
I want to
would
live that way.
be- the baked potato. I did live that way.
Did
It's
y'all
wonderful.
ever eat too
Yeah.
much meat and you have those burps
That's
for
special.
days that just smell like
The universe gives
cold
you like
eggs.
special opportunities.
It's bad for you.
What was it? Sorry.
You ever like eat so much meat that you just have the worst burps? When I was little, I overdid it.
I'll get heartburn and indigestion and shit.
Nah, man.
I'll wake up choking, but I love meat, man. I fucking love meat. I'll eat it right before bed. I'll eat 2 ribeyes right before bed.
Bro, you're
sleep
living
right
good.
after.
That's that John Wayne lifestyle.
I'm gonna
bro.
die.
That's fine.
Look at my
That's why he looks
hairline.
35.
We're all
my
fucking
hairline,
23.
yeah.
We're all gonna die. Why would you ever why would you ever tippy toe through life just to safely arrive at the
You know what I
grave?
ate today?
Meat.
3 pieces of Little Caesars pizza. That's all I had.
That's like cardboard.
You know what time I woke up? 3
slices.
p.m.
Damn. What you doing waking up? What was you out? What
I went to bed at 7.
What was you doing up at 7?
Nothing.
I
My
respect
sleep
that.
schedule is fucked.
I respect that.
Yeah. I work a remote job, so I actually was able to catch some work, actually.
I try not
Even?
to. I try not to talk about my schedule because I would worry some people if people knew like.
You have to
exactly-
keep it on the low.
exactly what
you
I
have to
have
keep
going
that shit
on.
on the low, actually, because
Well, this is recorded.
well,
Very
This isn't
personal.
necessarily.
I know, I
We're
understand
not gonna get
that,
one,
but
like, we're not gonna get
I got in a
that.
really bad habit of I had a remote job, so then I went out and had too many commitments, and then it fucked over me working at my job, and like my job is a really cool job that pays you how much you do, based on how much work you do. So if you don't do any work, they're happy to pay you nothing. So I've remained an employee for them for a long time, but I'm back at it, and like. You know, it's slimmer pickings now. Like, you have to really stay on top of shit to get by, but I'm managing, but it's hard when you wake, you know, I'll miss, like, we get, like, certain, like, times where work is available, and then, like, I'll usually miss some time frames lately, because my sleep schedule's been so fucked. I just recently quit my job, and so I'm like, I can't believe I can sleep whenever I want.
Now he's driving
It's
for me
fucking crazy.
full time, editing my show.
Yeah, I drive for Victor full time, just about, and that's how I've had gas. It's honestly keeping me afloat. And then producing the High Tonight show has been really good, and I enjoy doing that. You know, and by producing I mean, you know, contributing to the production process. I think it's fair to say, you know.
Now you're doing shirts.
Producing, yeah, we did
What were
shirts
you
last
doing? You were just
night.
holding
We're all
the table
producers
down
here,
last
but
night.
Yeah.
It's like helping.
We
out.
were fucking, dude. No, we had a little sweatshop going. We had our little Chinese.
Yeah, we were at Asian sweatshop
yeah,
making
we had
shirts last night.
Yeah, we had a press. Oh man, this opened up my mind too. It was enlightening. But yeah, no, we pressed a bunch of shirts, and we had like our own $60 like decal with this machine our friend had in his living room. Pressed them there. We're about to be rich. No
Fuck yeah,
looking
bro.
back.
Merchandise is the
Yeah,
path, bro.
we're about to be rich.
Merchandise is truly the path. I really do believe that merchandise is the way.
Maybe we should start doing that for people. Fuck comedy. Just quit comedy. We do comedy all the time. We're comedians. Too.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's been
That's
clear.
how comedians make money.
But we
is
are
merch.
comedians.
On the subject of that, so you guys are running the High Tonight show, and you've been doing that a while, right? Like,
Yeah, we're on our 4th season now, and I just changed it over the whole crew. I started it back in 2016 in LA at a studio. What was it called? Drone Box. And they were trying to do their own like streaming channel, and they had like a fake kitchen right across the way, and like a whole stage and everything like that. And he would do different shows. I met him through a comedy show he did there, and it was a couple of brothers actually, and they had an open slot. They asked me if I had any ideas for an hour show, and I thought of like doing a weed talk show. I'd always wanted to do something like, I would just want to be like the Jay Leno of weed. So I was like, you know, the exact same structure of a Tonight Show. I come out, I do a monologue, I have guests, they perform, stuff like that, interviews, but I'm smoking the whole time. Because I'm not very social unless I'm like at this level. Unless
Like
I'm
if
high
Jay
as
Leno was
shit.
ripping a J the whole time.
I mean, I'm doing a monologue with a blunt in my
That's
hand.
awesome.
I mean, that's beautiful.
Well, you don't even really want to hear Jay Leno during the show. And you
Yeah,
might as
those
well
shows.
smoke
That's what
weed.
people.
might as
People
well.
ask me. They're like,
That's
"You
awesome.
watch these shows?" No, they're
You
boring.
get to smoke
I don't
weed
watch
and be
them.
the damn host. That's
It's
life.
an homage to what like Carson used to do. You know, they used to smoke cigarettes.
That's how I
on
film my
on
movies,
TV.
dude. If
that's
when
why
if
I'm
I'm
glad
in
I
charge,
bumped into this
you
guy.
got to smoke weed. We have to smoke weed. That's my rule.
I love
You're
that.
not allowed to not
So
smoke
I
weed.
did the first 3 seasons in LA, hour each. We did like 50,
How many
60,
episodes?
like 20 episode seasons. So about 60 episodes, like 58, 60.
Grinding.
Delta 8
Yeah.
legal products because this is Texas.
Well, no, in LA it was completely weed.
Yeah. But now we've gone league.
Out here, now that I
We're in
have
the
a,
legal
a
leagues.
sponsor, he's Delta 8.
Yeah, and he goes CBD and
Jeremy
makes Delta 8.
Green.
Mm.
Well, now they can even do legal Delta 9.
Right,
Yeah, as long as it's hemp derived.
right.
Which
Yeah,
is
for
wild.
novelty.
No
use.
comment.
Yeah,
No comment.
It's a wild deal. It's pretty cool. I mean, I make.
I've
my
had the
own,
edibles.
so-
I've had the edibles, like the legal Delta 9 hemp edibles. So what's the deal there? Okay, do you know how that works?
Yeah, I mean,
He's in the
How do you
fucking business,
get?
Danny.
How do you get? Oh yeah, right. But how do you get a sufficient amount of legal THC enough to get you, fucked up on an edible? Like 500 milligrams is 500 milligrams.
Honestly, I don't think they do. I think they're just doing it with weed, and then they're just slapping a sticker on it saying this is him. That's what I think is
The way Jeremy explained it to us is that like, but
You have to
the
use
difference
less than
between
0.3%.
Yeah, I mean, so the point is.
So you just have to use a shit ton of it?
Well, so here's the thing: is that now I believe they've got it to where you can literally just, as long as the primary extract that you're pulling from the plant
This is monkey
has
business.
0.3 or less, then it's a perfectly fine extract to pull out. And then they're just separating out all these different cannabinoids and left with the THC, and they're left with this THC, and this is what they're doing with it now.
as long as it's 0.3%.
No, like it can be 100% pure THC at this point, as long as it was
It was
extracted.
derived
as
from
long as it
0.
was
point.
extracted
The
from a
plant,
hemp
the
plant.
plant had a tiny amount, but you can use what came from
Jeremy
that.
told us it's a different
It's a loophole.
stage of growing. Like you got hemp, and then if you just let it keep going, it turns into just regular old weed.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. All that happens is once you basically grow the plant up until it looks like weed, like it has.
I think I'm
it
gonna
has
call the
buds.
police.
Oh, fuck, I'm buttoned up, dog. Like I don't give a flying.
I'm calling the cops.
But,
Fuck y'all.
So. Where
There
was
they
I
are.
about?
there they
You're talking
come.
about the evolutionary stage and the wheat plants.
Oh, and so all that happens is the cannabis plant will grow until it has like full-on buds on it, and the only reason why they even put on THC evolutionarily is for it's sticky, and so it grabs pollen out of the air. It's all female plants that we
I should have
smoke.
just asked Jeremy.
Sure,
but
well,
yeah.
I mean, yeah.
No, not that you're explaining it well, but it's like, damn, like this is an expert. I know a guy I could have asked, but no, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
And
So all they're doing is they're just chopping the plant down before it goes into the stage of growth where it starts putting on the THC.
That's what he said.
And when you're growing it indoors and stuff, you can literally manage the light cycle so that it'll grow in the vegetative growth stage indefinitely. You can grow big, massive plants. They'll never put on the THC ever, because they only do that once they start experiencing a certain light cycle, and they know, okay, it's about to be fall, it's about to be winter, we're all about to die, we have to procreate. Is literally the orientation that those plants have.
Mhm.
So
vegetables.
on the subject of cannabis and stuff like that, I mean, obviously we all smoke. We're sitting here today. Have you guys ever done any psychedelics?
Oh yeah.
You're talking to the man.
Oh yeah, the
Talking to
legend,
the man, the acid man.
So,
the acid man.
magic. I mean, bro.
He never came back.
I mean-
I'm the acid man.
I mean, bro. My handle on social media is literally Magic Man.
Mhm.
What? Yeah.
So
yeah.
tell me about it. So like, there are several things that I'd like to ask. Right? There's, what's your biggest experience you've ever had on it? What's the most profound thing you've ever experienced on them? What's the healthiest long-term benefit you've gotten from them? Like, what's kind of y'all's experiences with them in general? Like, let me hear about it.
Let's see here. The first time I ever had a weed edible, that was pretty fucking psychedelic in itself.
Yeah.
I count
Hold on,
that
microphone for
just
a
the
little bit.
first time.
On that note, real quick, I want to say, psychedelics kind of get a bad rep in general. Like, the most I've ever been fucked up was from an edible, and I've done lots of psychedelics. Like I did a fucking firecracker, and it was
That's
just a
right.
traumatic,
That was my
fucked
first
up,
time, dude.
awful. I
My
was
firecracker.
sick. I was fucked up. It was like it was essentially tripping, but it was a bad trip. But like it was just like it was fucked up.
So how you make a firecracker is you take a whole eighth, you grind it up real good, you put it on whole fat peanut butter, graham crackers.
The mistake is that he used the whole eighth.
What?
No, you're not even supposed to eat firecrackers in general. But all I'm saying is I did an eighth too, and like that's how you get fucking obliterated.
That's not a mistake. That's a good thing. That's what I wanted. Because the first time I ever tried weed,
I overdid.
it didn't
That was
work.
Too
I
much
just
for
smoked
me when
it.
I was an amateur.
Well, we're not
An
talking
amateur-
about you, you
yeah.
fuck.
Yeah,
Shut
okay.
your. No, all right. Anyways,
Listen, kids. No.
what was I saying? Yeah, all
Try
right.
half an eighth first.
No, the first time I did it was an eighth. I was in Arlington, Texas, and man, it kicked in. I was at the mall, and I could see behind my own head for about like 12 hours. It was great. I passed out. Man, I'll never forget it. I was listening to the Kanye album for the first time. Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
God damn it, I couldn't pick a better album to get high to. But so yeah, that was pretty psychedelic. Other than that, like some mushrooms pop out, some acid here. Acid makes me feel like doing push-ups. That's what I always tell people. Like I always feel energetic.
Yeah, acid is like an upper.
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. But shit, I've done what is it? DMT. I've done DMT dab pens. Those were fun.
Yeah, I had a DMT dab pen for a long time. You're just riding around, going to space at the red light. It's
That's
fine.
like a fucking little magical wand.
It really is. Yeah, I've definitely had a DMT pen.
I
as
can't
well.
imagine a DMT pen.
You haven't
Can
hit
actually
one
break
yet?
Through? No, I've never tried DMT.
Man.
So it can be pretty difficult.
I haven't tried DMT
it can
yet.
be pretty difficult to break through on one, but you can definitely.
Yeah, you'll
You
see
get,
the.
there
you'll
is
see
like
the
a mild
destination.
DMT effect that people seek, and like I've heard people talk about
You'll
that.
get the
Shane
point.
Gillis'
You get the
friend.
point for sure if you're hitting it,
talks
but it's
about
not.
that.
It's not a full effect.
I can definitely tell you that whenever I had one, if I was sitting in bed and I hit it and I held it and I was like very intentful with it, I'd get pretty goddamn close to breaking through with a DMT vape. I got pretty close a couple times, but there's nothing like ripping it out of a bong
Yeah.
and
Oh,
doing like
man.
the full deal. Yeah.
It's funny. I'll never forget the first time I've had the resin of DMT. Like someone was like, "Yeah, we hit DMT in here yesterday," and like this was just like still in the bowl, kind of scraped up in there. I was like, "Yeah, okay, that's something." It tastes like wood almost, or something
It
like
tastes
that.
like fucking mothballs.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
That's the taste. It's mothballs, bro.
I'm saving DMT. I want to fucking go hard with it if I do it. But I know a lot of people say that, but like I just want to like have all the variables in place and get a nice crack pipe. But
you got to pick something you want to work.
But-
at.
I don't like it out of a crack pipe.
I
I
don't-
like it out of a bong because it cools it off,
Oh, yeah.
and I like
as long as I get a
like-
sufficient amount.
I like to mix it with hash.
But like I
because
said-
I can't smoke it. Like if it's straight mothballs in my lungs, I'm a vomit. I tried.
Yeah, it's
I got to the
gross.
point where
Well,
I
apparently-
got to
yeah.
the point where I literally convinced myself that I was never going to be able to
I've
do
heard it all,
DMT
though.
because
I've
I
heard it
couldn't
people.
because it was too gross. I couldn't do it. And my cousin Jeremiah, shout out OG Chopper, actually is the one who decided that we were going to try mixing it with hash to see if we could cover up the taste enough with some shatter, and yeah, did the damn thing. Show.
Yeah.
But-
Otherwise,
Yeah.
So you've actually broken through on it.
man, no, I wouldn't say I
You
have.
have to like really sit down and take like giant
I haven't
hits.
done enough. No, I haven't done a good amount.
From what I hear,
mixed it
I
with
haven't tried
weed
it.
in my garage. We did garage mic in LA, and we did a lot of crazy stuff. I mean, we had fucking nitrous tanks up in there, you know.
Nice.
And we were
That's
passing
dope.
around
That's dope.
balloons.
Some fucking hippie crack for the whole
Dude,
gang,
we
bro.
go up
Let's
there. I go up there. I sound like Darth Vader.
Hippie crack, it's funny.
It makes the world into
Exactly
a
what it
big
feels
bass. Like, that's what the world is.
Yeah, bro.
But psychedelics
Oh.
though, my first time tripping, a kid at school fucking just I was just
This
going
is when
home
you say
sick.
school, you mean college? Or?
I was in high school,
Oh,
and
man.
a kid at school gave me a fucking research chemical tab, just like a sketchy ass, tasted like all sorts of fucking.
Like some fucking CB2.
They
or
say
something.
now, oh don't trip if your tabs taste like anything, because LSD doesn't have flavor. That's like one thing I started hearing for a while.
tasted
That tab
itself.
tasted like all kinds of
It
shit.
has a little metallic taste.
That was a metallic-y ass tab. I don't remember, but
I can confirm it
I
tastes
went
kinda
home and
metallic.
took it. I took that tab and tripped so fucking unbelievably hard.
What'd you
And-
see?
And it was the stereotypical like if you Google like try to watch this like tripping morphing,
Geometric shapes.
just like morphing everything, dude. I remember the very first time I did it was like how you would think acid would go. And it was like very colorful, all that shit. One scary thing was I went into the bathroom and I remembered like that scene from Silent Hill where like you could go to the mirror in Silent Hill and then go on the other side of the mirror. And I was like, what if I just swapped into like a mirror world right now? Like you know,
you are.
I was
bro.
like, God damn, fuck. And then just like my consciousness is mirrored now.
I was just like, God damn.
I pretty much had an ego death without knowing
That's
it.
what you're looking for.
And where like at one point, by the end of the night, because my dad caught me and I couldn't talk, and he ended up being cool about it. And then like I got stupid and invited like a couple of my close friends and was driving around saying insane shit, and like it was really embarrassing. And I remember being like, I'm gonna be fucked up forever. I just completely like it's gonna take me a long time to recover from this. But I was actually fine the next morning. I woke up fine. It took me a long time to go to sleep, but I finally went to sleep and was okay when I woke up.
You're still fucked up, dude.
At this point, but we'll get to that. And then
you never made it back.
And then acid was actual LSD was a much cleaner, tamer, like just.
No, I like mushrooms because they're natural.
You
don't have to do shit to them other than dry them out. Acid is unnatural.
Acid was made, and I don't know. It was discovered. I guess it was like discovered.
Are we naturally occurring?
Are we natural? Are we
a chemical process?
Are
I guess
humans outside of
but,
nature?
No.
But yeah, I did a lot of acid throughout high school.
Evolutionary process.
That's right.
Did a lot of acid throughout high school. Definitely very introspective, and made me feel mature and things like that.
I don't know if I co-sign on doing LSD as a teenager.
I'm not trying to say I'm not
advocating. That's tough, bro.
I am not advocating kids to do that.
I tell my kid, wait till you're 23.
I started doing that,
and your brain stops growing.
I started doing it in high school, and just not too much, but like a lot of people.
It's not really the type of drug where you really want.
I remember like talking about that I did it kind of semi-frequently. Like I took like once a month, or like 3 months in a row one time, and like my buddy was like, "You're doing a lot of fucking acid," and like getting mad, and
once every month. That's not.
But like it didn't. I don't know. It was probably hard for people to gauge how much I was doing, and I was talking about it a lot. I was a big fan of it, and
sure.
And I'm in school. I'm in high school too, so I didn't have a whole lot of opportunities to do that. But a couple of times I did take it at school.
Damn, you're a fucking gangster.
Took acid at school, and just one time I took half a tab before my English class, and it makes me sweat, and I was fucking just drenched in sweat.
Of course.
And there was another girl on acid because there was a big shipment of LSD that hit.
There was a girl?
Yeah, a girl was tripping hard in my class, and she was laughing her ass off. It was sketchy. I thought the cops were going to come. There was a sub who was
you were
just
so high.
I had a substitute that just turned her cheek around the whole thing. Didn't even try. I don't even know how much.
They're not paid enough to care. These fucking stupid ass kids. So what?
And it was like the end of the day. It was like she's gonna get through her class and send this girl out or whatever. I don't know. But that girl
was tripping.
I was tripping
and being paranoid.
And I had this assignment that was it was like a state assignment where they wanted us to do write 2 pages of like the prompts or whatever, and I was on acid, and it wasn't a grade. It was just gonna get submitted to the state or whatever, and I wrote the most fucking introspective, crazy, retarded, probably, just it's like I remember the entire class I wrote for like an hour and a half straight, just nonstop, and then I was like so fucking into it, just pouring with sweat in class.
Just squiggles.
I remember the blue carpet was just like
nothing there.
The blue carpet was like water. I was in like the ocean, and it was fucked up. But so I don't trip. Bro. I don't take big doses of acid anymore, and I like tiny doses of acid, and I'll be willing to do that often, and sometimes I do a little microdose, and that's just kind of like a very mild.
Hard to microdose acid.
Very mild, not in my opinion, dude. It's popular. Look it up.
So what do you like? Touch your tongue to it?
A true microdose is supposed to be like 1/10 of a tab, which is like almost inconceivable. Like you might not even. After a while, you're not gonna feel it.
See,
if you're just
microdose of mushroom is like.
I actually will take like a tiny
little,
sliver of a tab or something like that.
You eat a
once in a while, and it's just whatever. I forget that I do it, and it's just like the
way that I always
stimulating.
The way that I microdose is I get vials, some fucking troppers, and so I just put a drop in a glass of water, and you know that there's X amount of acid in this glass of water. You need 1/10 of the glass of water to get a 1/10 of a hit. It's very straightforward as long as you mix it up.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm math. math smart like that. Like, I was.
I've
Physics.
microdosed mushrooms. I'd like to microdose.
It's hard to talk about LSD without giving details away that you don't want to share. You know, like about like
I don't know. I speak
personal
very openly
relationships
about
and
it.
stuff like that. But or about like where you get it from and stuff like that.
Oh well, yeah, that shit's all.
But,
so yeah. You
But
can talk about
but what I do want to say is like I took 2 tabs one time of, I don't know, like because I remember there were like double tabs and 1.5 times tabs going around, but
Tell
it was
us how you
strong.
tried, Danny.
What, like really really fucking strong ass LSD, and I've done that. I've done that like twice where I took like 2 tabs of like really strong LSD, but like one time I did it around people, one time I did it alone, and when I was alone, I remember like having like neon walls and shit form around me as I like wrote shit down, and that was a whole fucking night long.
What's the most you've ever taken at once?
Like I said, when I was around people, I think I might have had 2 double tabs, maybe.
So
That's a lot.
4 tabs.
So that might have been, I don't know though, it might have been anywhere from 2 to 4 tabs worth of LSD, but it was really strong, and a lot of people will be like, oh, I need 10 hits to get going. Oh, I need 3 tabs of LSD if I'm even gonna feel anything, and then I'll go bring them one tab.
Who says this?
One tab of the shit that I get, and they trip they take it at work, and there was too much, way too fucking much at work. That's drinking a whole bottle of whiskey. That's way too, at work. But
Yeah, well, I mean, who's taking LSD at work? Like, these fools are tripping. Like, you got
they were just like, oh, we're badasses from back in the day or whatever,
that's
just
suspect.
I don't know, but
That's-
they learned their lesson
that's
quick,
big homies.
and then once
That's
they realized
suspect.
what they were dealing with, they kept it together and did it in their own time. But like they didn't completely pussy out. I don't want to call those guys out, but because like, they were paying for it and stuff. I appreciate it. It made some money for me. But yeah, I brought it to work, and my fucking manager and shit, manager and the fucking guy each take a full tab, and I'm like, no, but I gave it to him. Like, I don't know, they paid me.
That's wonderful.
And,
what a fucking time. That's
Your
a
Paid me back
Manager?
for it. Yeah, I had a man. Yeah, fuck.
Where?
I'm not gonna fucking say.
Tell
it
us
on
where you
podcast.
worked.
I'm not gonna say it.
So, I can divert from spilling beans on people who don't need beans spilled on.
Yeah.
I-
That's the thing about podcasts that worries me. I'm gonna fucking fuck up.
well,
I'm gonna
if,
say something fucked,
if you
or
ever get to that point, you can always
Ooh.
be like, "Hey, man, we need to censor that," and I'll just like pretend like I'm going to cut it out, and then not.
But I'm gonna be on Joe Rogan someday, and I'm gonna say some shit, that it's not worth contacting him about. I'll say something about like my family or something like that, or call my brother this or my sister that, and then they're mad at me, or even just talk shit about, I don't know.
Just live your best life, bro.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
I'm a comedian. I have to talk shit. And
Yeah, well, so there you go. Yeah, just enjoy yourself to the best of your ability.
have you ever gotten in trouble for saying shit on a podcast?
Uh,
Not in trouble, but I mean is like be like, hey, I heard what you said. You talk shit about my business. I'm gonna spank you.
I don't think anyone's ever said that.
No one spanked you?
No one's ever said that. Anywhere.
No one's
You've
ever
never been spanked?
Well, I mean, I've gotten my ass whooped by like my parents as a child, but like I've definitely never caught any friction from anybody out there in the world because I said something about them on a podcast. No, that hasn't happened.
Okay.
And if I did, I wouldn't
All publicity
necessarily
is
probably
good
give a fuck
publicity,
because
yeah.
I speak my truth, bro. Like I don't live in the world of like I have lies or anything like that. Like I say exactly what's
I
on my
want
mind.
your drug
when it's on
dealer's
my
name right now.
Fucking, I'm not gonna lie about that, but I'm also not gonna speak about that right now on the
good.
podcast. Yeah, of course.
Take me to your dealer.
You're just not very fucking funny, bro. I thought you were a comedian.
Dude,
That's
not
why
funny.
I'm doing production on the back end, bro. He's found his niche where he doesn't have to be that funny. What about you? What's the most you've ever taken?
I don't know. I know that.
I didn't know you fucked around with DMT shit, man.
Well, I took enough acid that I stayed up all night, and I remember I couldn't sleep. I had just had my kid, and I had done like one of the episodes of the High Tonight Show at
I
a
take
big
acid every
theater in
Halloween.
LA. Would you shut the fuck up? What was I saying?
In LA, the big theater. You did acid.
Yeah. I stayed up all night, and I was listening to fucking.
At home alone?
I was with my family. I was with my son and his mom, and I remember we drove to, like, I couldn't
One
sleep
tab?
all night. No, I mean, well, how much did I take? It was quite a bit, but I did so much that I stayed up all night. We ended up driving to the beach the next day, and I couldn't calm down unless we drive to the beach, and I was listening to, like, Kendrick Lamar, We Gonna Be Alright, and it was at the Venice Beach. It was a beautiful day. Man, I remember like
LSD on vacation.
Well, I lived there though. I was in LA.
Oh, yeah,
I was already there. I'd been
yeah.
staying. That's where we had our kids. So I
On
was
the beach,
staying there.
though, in
Well,
nature.
yeah. I mean, it was fucking gorgeous. I don't know how much that was though, but it was enough that like acid always keeps me up like that. I can't sleep on
It's tough
acid.
somewhere. It's fine.
Mushrooms, I can sleep. But I mean, the most I've done on mushrooms is about an eighth. That's like a hero's dose. You know?
Is it really?
Yeah. I mean, I guess how much. That's about standard, right?
I don't know, man.
Mushrooms are their own conversation.
Well, I hate to say, but I think that my circuit for like getting high on mushrooms is broken. I can get high on them, but it's never anything that compares to the type of psychedelic experiences that I've had on DMT and LSD. Like, it's just always so mild that it doesn't really scratch the itch for me. And last time I did mushrooms, I ate 8 grams. And
That's a fucking lot.
You would chill as fuck?
God
yeah,
damn.
it was nowhere near.
When was the last time you had taken it? Before that?
Probably a year or two.
In what form? Like what? Like
Shit.
just
So
the whole
I
thing?
made it as tea.
Okay.
And then I ate the pulp afterwards. I parachuted the pulp.
Wow.
And my friends both took like 2 grams or 3 grams. We wound up getting a half ounce. I ate 8 grams, and they ate the rest. And so they both comparatively didn't even take as much as I did combined.
Yeah.
And they were both relatively pleased with their psychedelic experience. And I was not. Like, it never even once got me to the point where I felt like it was jerking me around. Like, it was never like...
Did it
oh,
upset your
it's-
stomach at all? The
No.
teas, yeah, the teas won't do it if you
and,
eat it
and
raw
also,
like that.
and
that upsets your
also,
stomach.
and also, like, I was trying hard. I took it with lemon, grapefruit,
Oh, yeah.
and black pepper extract.
The lemon helps a lot.
It's the citrus, and that's why I did grapefruit, because grapefruit actually has a higher citrus content than lemon. I just did the lemon for flavor, and I did the grapefruit for
I was
getting
gonna
it
say
in.
I've done lemon juice before, like having shrooms and lemon juice, and it made them hit twice as strong for half as long.
So I did it
Just
all.
pure
I did
lemon
the
juice.
black pepper extract. I did lemons in the tea, and then I drank grapefruit juice afterwards, and on 8 grams. And these were mushrooms that were evidently just fine. You know, like the people who took them next to me were all very satisfied, and it was just like wham for me. But I've also
I did an eighth one time. Yeah.
I've also done like some really, really, really heroic doses. Like me and my cousin Jeremiah ordered $200 worth of hash, $200 worth of LSD showed up, and we just did it all.
How long and what time?
What did it
frame?
look like?
They were candies. We only got 20 hits, so we did 10 hits each in an evening.
Oh
Shit.
wow.
Yeah,
Damn.
So that'll do it.
yeah.
But,
I definitely had to talk with God that evening.
What do you remember?
Oh,
yeah.
I remember a lot. I could tell you the whole story.
Real
but I've
quick,
also meditated on it a
just so
bunch.
we can stop
It's like a
the
very important
conversation about
experience.
shrooms before just one thing about shrooms real quick is I always thought shrooms were weak sauce. I always assumed that. And I did a bunch of acid, but the first time I actually have ever tripped, I technically did some shrooms one time and I was high for like 6 hours. My buddy eyeballed like maybe 2 grams.
Sure.
And maybe high for like 6 hours, and I was in high school. I thought it was a waste of money, basically, because I would have rather had weed last me longer. But then, so yeah, I do a bunch of acid. Years go by. My buddy and I each do 3 grams of some shit, and I had already done acid and tripped really hard at this point. And 3 grams of shrooms.
Added to that?
No. I was sober,
Oh,
but
okay.
I had had a lot of experience with LSD prior.
Yeah, he was saying that he'd already had big, robust.
Well,
I've
the
had
same
really
night?
intense trips. No, but so I hadn't had shrooms in a really, really long time, and I was sober, and I took 3 grams of shrooms of whatever he had, and I tripped so fucking hard off those shrooms, and it was one of the hardest, probably the hardest I've ever tripped, and
Damn, I want that.
just from being like a virgin to shrooms, and I had an ego death straight up, and like it was
On 3
a
grams
very
of mushrooms?
inappropriate time to take shrooms because it was like a work night for my friend, and we were in his bedroom, and his roommate having to go to
Or
sleep
just
and stuff.
variables that play.
There was a
that
lot
you
of
don't
things
want to be
like-
considerate of when you're tripping.
Yeah, and so I ended up just like rolling around on the floor, freaking out in my friend's dark room, and like I had like
What
a
a
full blown
blast.
ego death, and just like and basically to put it in small words, forgetting who you are completely and slowly remembering,
Mhm.
and then just like being amazed by it all too,
Yeah.
like just.
No, but I want to hear
completely- it
about
was-
his conversation with God.
But anyway, sorry, but that's all I pretty much had to say is I took like a rather what you would consider a small dose by having like no experience relatively after taking acid for a long time, and like
Well, see, this gives me hope because I thought
Mhm.
that the primary cause behind me being unable to really get there on mushrooms was because I'd had big, robust psychedelic experiences on other drugs. So
Mhm.
it isn't something that's mutually exclusive. I can do both. So I just need to find the right mushrooms.
yeah, and time in between too helps. But,
Yeah.
from
Well, it's been a
each
long
individual
time since
thing,
I've taken
yeah.
any. Like I could find them right now and be primed. And I've heard guys like either of you guys familiar with Terrence McKenna?
Yeah, from Joe Rogan, but yeah.
Yeah. So most people, I got introduced to Terrence McKenna through Joe Rogan. I've gone down all the way down the Terrence McKenna rabbit hole, and he talks about taking 5-6 grams and getting drop kicked by the universe and it, like, taunting
I haven't heard
him.
too
You know what I'm
much of him,
saying?
but yeah, I have heard some of the stuff
And
like
so,
that.
I've gone and tried to chase that down with mushrooms, and I've never had it. And it's quite disappointing. But it's almost kind of a humdrum story because I've said this on a few of the podcasts at this point. But I will tell you, we took this acid. We took like 5 hits, and we got about an hour in and wasn't feeling anything. Fuck it, we're gonna take the rest. The moment I took the rest of tabs, the first bit started to hit, and I was like, "Oh wow! If this is how high I am right now, and I just doubled this, there's no stopping." Like, wow, I'm in for a long night.
Shit.
And I couldn't stand Adventure Time, the cartoon. I was so high, I was on the couch, I couldn't move, and I was stuck watching Adventure Time, and it finally clicked for me. Right? These are just 2 bros living in an post-apocalyptic Earth, doing exactly what they want to do, and it just so happens they're like good dudes. And I was able to connect the dots
That's
with
awesome,
Adventure Time, and it all kind of made sense for me. And I really started to like Adventure Time after that. But it got to the point where it's coming on in waves. You've done LSD. It kind of emerges from the foreground.
You'll feel
and
sober
stuff.
1 second, and then depending on how hard you're tripping.
Well, my thing is, it'll get to where you're tripping. You don't
you'll
realize
get the
you're
eye of
tripping.
the storm, basically.
Well, so for me, it kind of comes on real subtly, and then all of a sudden it'll stop. And you're like, wow, that was really weird just then, and now I'm back to normal, right? And the waves kind of come and go real quick. And one of the things that kept really ringing true for me was that this type of experience that I was having was something that I could have without these drugs, through meditation and prompt effort.
Mm-hmm.
And so I decided to go do that mid-trip, I was like, oh, I can do this without these drugs? Well, let's see what happens when I do that with these drugs.
Yep.
Flex on this shit. And
Oh shit.
so I went to my bedroom
That's a recipe.
I went to my bedroom high on 10 tabs of LSD.
Yeah.
And these are big blotters. Like you say, strong LSD. This is from the First Church of Kindness, registered with the state of Texas, registered sacrament with the state of Texas. Fat boy tabs on shock tarts. You can see where the
They're
whole
candy.
And you could see where the whole shock tart had been level full with LSD, and it's soaked in.
Mhm.
You could see where there was they
What year was this?
They were thick boys. This was, buddy, I haven't been keeping very good track of time. This
Yeah.
was years ago. Maybe
Over a decade.
no, maybe 6-8 years ago.
Okay,
6,
okay.
7, maybe 5.
I was just wondering.
5 to 8 years ago. It was right towards the end of when I was staying over by the Domain.
Okay, I was just wondering because I was wondering if it was
In the trap. Shout out.
everybody
the trap.
always talks about 90s shit and all that, or
No.
and prior, but
Yeah, so any of this is all post college, post getting SWAT team. This is me being Austin Dork, and so I go and I sit on my bed with the lights off and I sit in lotus pose and meditate, and it gets to where the psychedelic experience is so violent that you want to open your eyes and get away from it, but when it's dark, there's no escaping it. There's a couch for me to grab onto psychologically and start building out the space so that I can understand even where I'm at. And it got to where I was so far out that I couldn't get back to my body. And at that point, I was almost 500 pounds at the time.
Oh,
And,
wow.
Yeah, I'm 300 right now.
Yeah, I was about to say you're not 500 pounds.
No, I used to be
Man,
though.
Wow.
I can show you pictures.
No shit.
Yeah, and but
I bet you lost 10 pounds just doing that as a.
It's man, it takes a lot.
I'm not kidding. I will lose 10 pounds from a hard trip. I've pretty much done it.
it was
5
you
pounds.
sweat so
maybe.
much?
There's definitely some sweat involved.
Shit. I shit and sweat a lot when you trip.
I don't shit a lot,
But-
I can't shit tripping.
If you're
I've-
perfectly fed and hydrated and you start
I
tripping,
would not
I feel like
shit
it
tripping.
increases bodily functions with
Well, I mean,
LSD.
the
yeah.
bottom line is it's a stimulant,
And,
and
yeah.
so in quite the same way as any other stimulant will make you need to shit, so
Yeah.
will LSD. I've just never done it. I feel like that would feel really weird.
Yeah,
But
I want to wipe my ass. I'll
That's like
probably
a
take
big
shower.
part of tripping is like, in my opinion, is like you do whatever psychedelic, and then at some point you got to take a shit, man.
I've
And
never
it's usually
done it.
during the come up.
I've
There's
never-
like acid shit is a thing.
I've never taken a shit.
Where you're
on
like, yeah,
psychedelics.
where the fucking
Christ.
acid starts hitting you while you're shitting
That's
and you
not a
can't shit
thing.
right.
You're making that up.
No,
You're
bro.
fucking lying.
I feel like
I'm not
several
making
people
that
have said
up.
something to the
Acid
effect.
shits.
That's a thing here.
What the fuck?
I mean, he's the guy. He said he was the guy, so he would know.
Acid shits.
But- so-
Morrison didn't talk
One
about
day you're
that.
gonna be tripping hard and you're gonna have to take a shit and it's gonna be something else.
I'll cry.
Well, so I forewent the acid shit and went and meditated in silent darkness in lotus pose, and got
And you
so
couldn't find your body like not
no,
like,
I got so
Avatar Aang.
I got so far out that I couldn't find my way back, and I had convinced myself that I had gotten so ecstatic that I had a heart attack and died in my bedroom.
Fuck yeah.
And
What a conclusion.
I mean, it was
That's-
like
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you.
I
Like,
died.
I could totally see that happen.
it's
I'd
like
be
wow, I was so high. It makes sense that it killed me.
And you're like, you're in your spirit. Wow.
Yeah,
fuck.
and so I went out to like the place where all souls go to hang out between incarnations, and it got so far out that it was just pure blackness, my dude, and there was this flowing river of light that existed solely in my periphery, and anytime I tried to look at it, it would move, and as it moved, it would leave these just waves of symbols, bro, like alien languages and shit, and like I had no idea what they meant, but you could tell that those were like all the most powerful
geometric symbols and things like that.
ones that were geometric, ones that looked more
Are
like
there numbers in anything?
I mean, there were. I mean, again, none of them were necessarily English. Like, I don't think that any of the languages and symbols that we use on this planet are robust enough to have made it to that point where it was leaving that in its wake. We don't do good enough with our monkey babble to hit that level.
It's all so simple what we do. It's just fucking little lines and shit.
I would get intense images tripping on acid. I want you to continue here in just a second. Sorry, but like on that note, real quick, it reminded me that like an image I had of like the Big Bang and like having numbers and shit fly out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Like,
all the information that
and-
ever existed exists all at once, and it all erupted out of that one point for sure.
Everything is math. We are math.
My arm is math.
5 buck.
But Fibonacci sequences everywhere. But the
Yeah.
on the
So
subject,
you're in purg.
Well, I'm actually gonna digress from that for a second because you were talking about how simple our utterances are. When you're in the DMT space, you can make shapes with your words, and our words make like little noises. But if you go ooh wah, blah, 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 and
Oh,
do like
fuck.
big omi noises, where you'll make these big, robust, neato shapes with your voice. And remember that because I'm going to circle back to this whenever in the LSD trip.
Making me have an acid flashback.
Yeah, right. It's all in your spine still.
Yeah.
But I try and keep up with it, and it's just leaving these symbols in its wake. And before long, like out of the blackness, I start to see these faces, faces that are made out of symbols, bro. Like math, like you said, it's math. And imagine if every god that had ever been created by any sentient species anywhere ever were all watching you all at once with a microscope. Like every god, our god, his god, your god, the god from Mesopotamia, the god from fucking
Greek, Christian.
places way, way, way out there. You know, like the on planets where they breathe methane, the gods that they worship. Every god that's ever been dreamt up anywhere was there watching me, bro. And it was like they all had this
What's
big...
a god?
It's whatever, you make it.
Yeah.
And so they were all looking at me with this microscope, bro. And it took me through every Planck frame of my life. Are you familiar with what a Planck frame is?
No.
Sit back a little bit.
Oh, sorry.
A Planck frame is if you were to like take, it's the smallest imaginable increment of measurable time. If you were to take a snapshot of the universe and it'd be one single snapshot, that's a Planck frame.
Like a picture frame?
Exactly, right? And the point is, it's if you were to roll it like a film, right? It'd be 100 quadrillion divisions per second. And it took me through every single one of those 100 quadrillion per second snapshots of the universe that I passed through. And we got through the end of it, and it brought up shit that I'd forgotten, bro. Like legit old trauma that I'd put in the vault and was gone. Brought it up. I was like, wow, holy shit, I forgot that ever even happened. Wow. And it kept trying to ask me what was going on here. Like, like these are the moments we want to take a harder look at. And anytime that I tried to like put my consciousness back in that moment, it was already there waiting for me, bro. Like kind of laughing at me, taunting me that like, I can't believe it took you this long to like just be real with yourself, right? Because that's all the whole thing was for, was to see if you'd be real with yourself in this moment. Like, because if you were going to try and lie to us, we were going to be here. We were there. We experienced it with you. It's like in Christianity, they refer to it as the Holy Ghost, right? We're all one big thing, and we are the instruments through which the universe experiences itself.
The Force.
And so there's no, like, whatever galactic consciousness there is, every experience you've had is a shared experience with it. And so you just got to keep it a buck with yourself and it whenever your heart gets set on the scale. And the only thing that I can compare it to, I did a lot of reading after this went down, bro. Like, I did a lot of, like, what the fuck did I just go through? And the only thing that I can compare it to is it was that I had my heart weighed against the feather of truth in the Hall of Anubis.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
What's the Hall of Anubis?
The Hall of the Dead, where the Egyptian god of the dead would weigh your heart against the feather of truth. And that was
Judgment?
Yeah, that
St.
was
Peter?
that was where they passed judgment, right there on that scale. And basically the test is, are you honest with...
Known as St. Peter to some?
Sure, yeah. You know, multiple faces of the same thing. But at the end of the day, the big test was, are you going to be honest with us and yourself about what your intentions were and what was going on? And, you know, the bottom line is that it told me I was all right. You know, I got to the point where, hey, we've measured up everything. Thumbs up, buddy. Like, keep doing what you're doing and everything's going to be all right. And in that moment, I realized two things. One, keep doing what you're doing, it's going to be all right. I'm not actually dead. I'm going to get to keep playing through. Like, immediately it occurred to me once it communicated that to me. And then also, it's that something was communicating with me. Like, wow, holy shit, where is this information coming from, bruh? I thought I was dead. I'm just chilling. All of a sudden, I'm getting like, all of a sudden, I'm getting like bombarded by this incredible knowledge from this infinitely wise thing that is the sum total of all experience that's ever been experienced all at once. It's like if we're all programs on a computer running and doing our thing, all the information that we're gathering is getting saved onto the solid state drive. And the solid state drive, it's all a computer, bro. They're all just parts. And we're just part of this big thing together, and we're experiencing it together. And like
absolutely.
It's experiencing itself through us. And so there was no escaping.
I feel like I've experienced my lifetime at least 3 times. I swear to God. Like I feel that often. Like I'm exhausted.
There is definitely drastic phases.
You gotta keep it real on the scale, bro.
Yeah,
that's the big trick. Is keep it.
That's
real
like why else would you do it this many times if you hadn't?
You're not. At the end of the day, you picked this lifetime because you knew you had a lesson to learn, and you're not learning the lesson, bro. Yeah, whatever lesson there is, you're gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
But so the moment that I realized that I was still alive and that I was being communicated with by what I can only consider the galactic consciousness, the closest thing that we could equivocate to God, right? I'm talking with God. The word's a little played out. I like galactic consciousness. Yeah. It's the whole galaxies, the whole everything's aware of itself.
The two different mental images. Like God is like white. He's got a beard. He's in he's in the clouds. The galactic consciousness is like way bigger.
Exactly. And so, but the point is that God is supposed to be oriented. The concept of God is supposed to be oriented at this thing. Right, and all these different channels lead to the truth. It's like, are you guys familiar with Krishna, the Hindu god?
With the 8 arms?
Well, infinite arms. They just oftentimes depict him with 8. But the point is that all those arms, all the spiritual paths at the end lead to Krishna's embrace, as long as they were like in good faith meant to get you there.
They do look like paths, yeah.
Yeah, well, and the bottom line is like it doesn't matter if you were a Christian and went through the Christian path, or if you were a Hindu and went through the Hindu path. At the end of the fucking playthrough, as long as you were good and intentful and like did what you were trying to do, you're gonna find yourself in one of these embraces of Krishna, because it has an infinite capacity to embrace you at the end of the playthrough, and that's where you're gonna basically find your judgment or whatever. But the point is that it's a loving thing, right? Like they're embracing you, you know, and it's like a warm, comfy feeling. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the playthrough, as long as you did it right. And the moment I realized that it was communicating with me, I asked it a question. I asked it, "What's the purpose of life?" And I'll give you both one opportunity to answer it, and I'll give you one hint. It's a 4-letter word.
Love.
He fucking nailed it. The LSD man himself nailed it. That's the point of the whole fucking playthrough, bro. This whole thing is an act of love. You know, they say that like 99% of everything that is matter is comprised of open space. That open space, the thing that holds everything together, the thing in there that's holding it all together is love, bro. It's a big act of love out of the galactic consciousness, and it's experiencing itself for the sake of its own fulfillment and enjoyment, and we're the instruments through which it does that. And as long as you're living right and enjoying yourself, it's enjoying itself, man. That's the whole fucking deal. It's like it's trying to have a human experience, and
It's
so
true.
we have to have a good human experience for ourselves, and that'll fulfill it. And so fulfill yourself and fulfill it. And everybody's going to be real happy in the end.
Everything is just, you know, it is what it is, but if you're enjoying it, that's what makes it.
I have a
difference.
mild version of that story.
Well,
Of your
there's one
story.
last thing I want to talk about, and then we'll hear your story, because I want to circle back to the wahs and the big shapes in the DMT space. Is whenever I asked it what the purpose of life was, it didn't say love, bro. It was like I was laying in a tub, looking up into just infinite white, and it dropped a drop of pink food coloring in at me, and the only thing that I can imagine at this point is that was the form of love. Like at the end of the day, imagine each one of us have an idea of what love is, right? Like your truest definition of what love is, beyond what you can say, right? Deep down, you know what love is for you. You know what love is for you. I know what love is for me. He knows what love is for him, right? Those concepts can be conceptualized as like the face of a shape, right? You get a panel, and that snaps in over here. He gets a panel that snaps in over here, and eventually we make a shape, right? We get a cube, and the surface of that cube is defined by the conceptions of people's interpretations of love. And in the center of that shape that we just created is what love really is. You know what I'm saying? There's no actually getting to the real truth of what a concept is for anybody in any circumstance. It's all the truth. Trying to define the truth is like trying to bite your own teeth, or trying to taste your own tongue, or trying to hear your own eardrum. You know what I'm saying?
Paradoxal.
There's exactly there's no quite doing it. And so all we can do, like I said earlier, how God is like a symbol that we use.
That's
to
what
direct
2001
ourselves,
is about.
That we direct ourselves at a concept, right? Each of these panels are like a window that you can look in through into the center of that thing's mass to see that's what love looks like from this perspective. That's what love looks like from this perspective. That's what love looks like from this perspective, right? And every single edge of that food coloring drop that it showed me was every sentient being that's ever lived ever's snapshot of what love looked like. And it was 100 quadrillion
It's all porn.
shapes. It was 100 quadrillion surfaces. Like imagine a dodecahedron times 100 million, bro. It was just the most complex geometrical shape that you could ever imagine, and all of the edges were defined by people's ideas of what love was, and they were all like windows through which I could look into the center and try and get a better idea of what love really was, but there was no actually getting there. And the point is that it's subjective. It's a concept that no one can really get there to. It only means what it means to you, and it only means what it means to you.
When you comfortably embody it.
And in that point of time too.
Yeah, well, everything's always in flux.
Yeah.
But the point is,
Like a baby's love, my son's love is so much simpler and purer than mine.
yeah, well, and also what
I
he's going to
envy
think
it.
about love is going to be different in 6 years.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's all about. But again,
That's why I love his.
well, and all those
It's
snapshots
pure.
were like every snapshot, every version of love that you've ever experienced was there. Like I'm telling you, it was the most robust. Like any way that you could want to experience love, the entire spectrum of love was all embodied in this shape. From sexual love to romantic love to the love you feel for your child to the love you feel for the universe to the love that the galactic consciousness feels for each of us. All of it was there. It was all encompassing, and it was a shape. And the thing that I'm working towards is that we do the same thing with our words. We create these shapes on the back end with our words. And our concepts, right? Like whenever I try and put together a sentence, that can be conceptualized as one of these shapes on the back end where there's multiple concepts being put together and making an organic looking shape. And I believe that our words are, because of the experiences I've had in the DMT space, I believe that our words are very lackluster. I don't believe that they have the capacity to carry as much context as something more like long and drawn out and harmonious,
like singing,
like the way that whales and dolphins communicate. That will make neat shapes in the DMT space because it's a more robust method of communication.
Oh yeah, dolphins have fucking dialects.
Isn't
They
that
can
crazy?
be racist with each other.
Hey Mikey, how long have we been going?
You're right at an hour.
Okay,
Oh,
we've been,
yeah.
damn, we've been going for an
Nice.
hour, bro. Holy
Oh, yeah.
shit!
Solid.
I still have,
Well,
I
so
still-
I have one question I want to ask both y'all before we go.
All right,
What to you is an incel, and what makes someone one?
go, Danny.
That's what happens whenever I wake up in the morning. I'm just kidding. No, that's like when you're when you have like Asperger's and like you I guess that's when you're like super antisocial and you have a and you're I don't know. I think of like being dedicated, overly dedicated, like a guy who's like programming and stuff like that 24/7 or in tech or some shit, and he's fat and just like it's like a lack of social skills and experience and things like that. And there might be like bad events, like in 4-Year-Old Virgin. Remember when he was
past trauma?
Yeah, well, like he went to the girl went to suck on his toe and he kicked her in the face and broke her nose. And
yeah, that's trauma.
And
that's
yeah,
traumatic
and
event.
stuff like that, and then just ends up with you being like, there's like incels that like used to get laid and stuff like that,
Yeah.
like quite a bit, and then they just like are older and fat and.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day,
you also usually think of a nerd. You think of a smart guy. You think of like I don't know, somebody that just doesn't get it in a social important. There's like a lacking a fundamental relationship thing. And I'm really bad with relationships, and one might, I don't know.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, the
one might call me an incel.
Well, the term is involuntarily celibate. So
That's what I was going to ask.
So
I
if
knew
you're
there was a thing.
involuntarily celibate, then you
yeah,
were
if you're
an
not
incel.
getting laid, basically.
That's what it stands for.
Yeah,
Pretty
So
much.
you can't
But-
help yourself.
But like the 4chan, type of like.
Well, what about for you? Whenever you think of an incel, what is an incel to you? Like, what makes somebody an incel?
They can't help themselves. Like then you're not supposed to be trying, right? And you can't.
It's like
that's
the people
someone
who are
that
trying the hardest to find relationships. are the ones who
yeah, and
struggle
that's
the
like
most to
it'll
find
never get through to them that you're not supposed to try. That's all it is.
I think so. For me, I think the big issue. I feel like the largest identifiable demographic of people who are in the incel community are people who feel like because they respect females, the type of guys who will call women females. That's an incel to me. Like if you go, she's a female, or that if you're referring to women as females, that's incel activity to me. But beyond that, it's like where they believe that because they've been nice guys and because they respected women, they should be getting pussy.
Right.
And
Those
they develop
Yeah.
exactly. They're like the white knights of the
Resentful
world, the guys who are
stuff like
trying
that.
real hard to be white knights, and then they like resent women in society because they aren't
Yeah.
being rewarded with pussy. And I think that the big issue is that those guys
They wear
don't
fedoras.
realize that simply being a nice guy and being respectful of women is the literal bare minimum that's expected.
Yeah,
That's not the bar to get over. That's the bar not to trip under.
You
know what I'm
don't-
saying?
it
You
is-
don't want to trip over that bar.
It's not a reward. It's not
Well,
supposed
like-
to be a reward.
That starts
No,
to
that's
get
what
into
you're
like.
expected to do.
Yeah.
And they're only
You
doing
don't get
the
a
bare
I think that's
reward
kind of like where
expectations.
serial killers and shit start to, or that's like kind of like a similar vein of being entitled to, like having a bad sense of entitlement will cause things like that.
all kinds of crazy shit.
Because
These
you
guys
feel entitled to like a relationship and then you don't fucking get it and then you're out there.
That's exactly what's
You're out there
happening.
not meeting the. You're not even a respectful person. In any genuine way.
And that's what these incels are doing. They believe that because they've simply
It's like a
done the
narcissistic
bare
thing, too.
minimum, right? But in their mind, they haven't done the bare minimum. In their mind, they've gone the extra
Overachieved.
mile to respect women, something that most men aren't doing. And And in reality, they're just doing the absolute bare minimum and thinking of it as the most. And whenever they aren't getting rewarded with
That's
what
a very
they want,
important
they
distinction.
develop.
Yeah.
They develop this like resentment to society. And I think that's the big distinction to make, is that being a nice guy and being respectful of women is the literal bare minimum that you're supposed to do. And if
I'm respectful to men.
and if
too.
doing that, if doing that is what you believe is supposed to entitle you to pussy, and you've turned that into your entire
That's not even
personality,
going to be
you're fucked, bro. And that's those guys. They're just
That doesn't
fucked.
even. You can't even. That's not even going to be like work if you're gay. You know, you can't go around.
You can
and
absolutely
just,
be a gay incel, dog. I feel like
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You think you'll just be like, oh, well, only if I were gay. Like, no, it's not gonna work with anybody if you're just gonna fucking show up and be retarded.
Well, again, if you think that you're going to be able to walk up and have nothing
Snap
more
your
to say,
fingers.
have nothing more to say for yourself other than I was nice to you and I was respectful of you.
What's wrong? Pull out the knife.
That's like I'm
Pulls
not
out
attracted,
knife.
bro.
Ah!
You haven't done anything. You don't have any interesting traits. You haven't done anything to interest me, right? You've just done the bare minimum to get through the situation, which is be respectful and be polite and kind.
But these types of people have always been around, right? Like, even before we called them incels, they had a place in society.
Yeah,
like,
the term
before the
incel is
internet,
something
that's
we
an
came up
internet
with. We
thing.
came up with
that's
that
a
shit.
meme. It's an
Frankenstein
internet.
is.
But even before that, those guys existed.
Yeah,
like,
before they were called mass shooters.
Even before, I don't know. Like, they usually put themselves in a powerful position. Like, an incel is primed to be like someone who's very successful, financially, just so they can do that type of thing.
Yeah, well, it gets to the point where they are driven by that need to be fulfilled sexually, to go and do other things so that they can develop that leverage.
There's a
It's
great
usually someone who's got the
documentary.
luxury. You know?
Like I imagine Harvey Weinstein. Is
Yeah,
like the
he's
world's,
like an incel.
the world's biggest incel.
Yeah,
exactly.
he's successful.
Just-
Incel.
yeah,
Incels are successful.
Figure out a way to manipulate it.
Nailed that. Fucking nailed that, bro.
Right?
Yeah.
Incels can be successful. Like,
There's a
oftentimes
documentary.
It's a luxury.
HBO documentary about QAnon that some guy made that HBO picked up. And he does a good job of like kind of recounting the events of what QAnon is and all that.
Mhm.
And they get into like 4chan and 4chan culture, and then there's this one popular individual that's a big character in the documentary where he's this he has like a really small body birth defect type of guy where he has like like baby proportions still.
He's got some type of hellacious disability.
Yeah, hellacious. And he's one of the guys like semi-involved and in cahoots type shit. He explains some of like the background of like 4chan. 4chan plays a huge role in all of that, and that it's all fueled by like incels. And they had this one, like this guy was an ambassador of this website. It was like a lifelong incel dedication website. And he was the host. Like he started it and made it all. It was really popular. Like and then like this 4chan is huge. It was just a lot of people showing up to this fucked up. These all the chans. There's a bunch of different
it's just
chans.
a forum, right?
There's a bunch of different chans.
I can honestly say I've never looked at 4chan in my life.
Yeah, I'm happy.
And
I don't know.
I learned about it from this documentary pretty much. And like I was at a party and like people like will pull it up. Like I've been around people pulling it up, and like you see fucked up awful shit or whatever. But it reminds me of like what I hear about the dark web and stuff. I've never been on there either,
Don't
but
fucking lie, Daddy.
but I've known people who go on there.
I know a
People
guy.
buy drugs. I know a guy.
for sure.
I've
But-
never been on as Danny.
But fuck, where was I?
You were going off on
Incels.
a
Okay, yeah, but there's that one weird midget
Some
guy was like,
incel
one
shit.
day I was at a strip club and there was a girl with a fetish for disabled people and incels and taking virginities, and so I fucked her, and then I had to give up the website. Like he proudly gave up that website because he's not an incel anymore. He's not a lifelong virgin. That was just like a detail of this guy's life. But it was like, look, there's a
Oh my
Incel-
God.
there's an incel
He
army
said,
going
I'm no
on.
longer involuntarily celibate,
That's how
guys.
easy they'll flip.
I'm out.
yeah, you fucking
That's how quickly you
Parachute.
can not
Bro,
be
you
an
could have
incel.
just paid a prostitute the whole time. You can go to fucking Vegas and pay.
That's not
Super.
involuntary. Yep, they have
Bro,
to do
consent
it.
is involved. Consent is involved, bro. I don't understand why.
You still get no respect from anybody if it's a hooker, and that girl probably definitely was a hooker, and he was lying. He probably definitely paid the girl.
Well, I mean, if he's in a
You have
strip-
to pay the girl if she's
if he's
fucking
in
you
a-
and
if
you
he's
look
in a
like
strip
that. If you're
joint, that line
hellacious.
is definitely already getting blurred. Let me tell you. But at this point, guys, this has been a super fucking fun conversation, man.
Fuck
This could go on for hours, sincerely.
Yeah, I gotta pee.
I got 3 H's in me, 3 hours in me right now. Those pills you gave me, by the way, I don't know if you're promoting those. Those are fucking dope.
Yeah,
that
Neuro
fucking
Root,
hyped
dog.
me the fuck
Yeah,
up.
I want some more of your product before I go.
Bro, I'll hook you guys up with some Neuro Root. Shout out Neuro Root product placement
There
on the
you go.
motherfucking counter. But
Brought to you by.
exactly, brought to you by Hoodie Subs. Give me money. But, so you guys, each one more time. Tell us all where we can support you online, who you are, what you have going on.
Yes.
You know, let's like wrap it up. Let's see what's up here.
Yeah, I'm Victor Martinez Jr. You could find me, Victor Martinez Jr. Google Victor Martinez Jr. Comedian. I've been on like fucking Netflix. You can find me at the Comedy Store. I'm here now. We're doing the High Tonight show tomorrow night, season 4, episode 3, and Danny here is directing it. Where can I find you, Danny?
My Instagram is at Lieutenant Dan, all lowercase. My name is Daniel Sheppard. I'm a filmmaker and comedian. And you can catch us both just like at Creek in the Cave or all over Austin doing various open mics as well as our own.
Yeah, I have
As
my
well
own
as
open
his.
mics as well.
Plus,
And
you do a street mic.
Yeah, I do street mic, I do Mueller mic, I do the Last Stand mic on Mondays. It's the Last Stand Brewing. They're really cool.
And
Super
I also
cool,
have a
man.
YouTube channel, Painkiller Productions, and that is my production company, Painkiller Productions.
Badass. Well, gentlemen, thank y'all so much for coming on. It's been a sincere blast. I'm really looking forward to the next one. I hope everybody
That was
who
great.
tuned
Yeah, I
in
would love to
enjoyed
come
it.
back. That was lit.
Guys, the ones who woke up, peace everybody. Thank you for tuning in.
Boom.
Monkey mouth, monkey mouth, monkey mouth, monkey mouth, monkey mouth, monkey mouth.